Okay, guys, so welcome to the live. And yes, here we go. So I want to first and often say that thank you guys, of course, for coming to the live. If you haven't hit that like and share for Jack and Lily, please do so. Again, they disappeared May 2nd. It's almost coming up to 5 months soon. And yeah, still no answers, but we had some good news about the cadaver dogs coming in and the information. So Kent's here joining me. Charmaine's unable to join us, but she'll be in chat at some point. But before we get started, I really want to emphasize on this, okay? The reason that you guys are going to be able to watch the entire team's meeting is because of Charmaine, okay? Now, for those that want to ask questions, just quickly, I'm going to tell you Charmaine um, had previously had a press pass, okay, with a production company when we were covering the Delphi case. Now, it was only during the live that we found out about the meeting that was going on the teams. And then Charmaine had her press pass reinstated. So she was scrambling around. Now, you're just going to have to take the video, which is pretty still good, the video. Like it's still really good. But it's going to look a little bit tilted, a little bit, because she was racing around. And that is why you guys are going to be able to watch instead of the little clippings that you guys seen in the news from the Teams conference. You guys, we are going to show you the entirety because that's the difference between the news. They can only play so much, during their little span that they have for time slots, whereas us, we can play the whole thing. So that's exactly how we have this is because of Charmaine. So in a sec, what I want you guys to do, you guys, for all those people, please, that are watching this, please give respect to Charmaine and give her a big thank you. And she will also be premiering the full entirety herself. Like here, you're going to see cuts and breaks as we discuss it, but Charmaine will be premiering the entirety on her channel. So please, you guys, go subscribe to Charmaine's channel and support her. Okay. I want to see those numbers go up before this even gets played. But before we start, I'm going to go through a couple things first. And Jack and Lily, obviously, you guys, please hit that like and the share. This is Charmaine's channel. 1 second here. Let me remove that. So this is Charmaine's channel here. Okay. So again, let me just quickly go to her thing here and videos. You guys should be able to see that. So as you guys see that, Lily and Jack Sullivan, the teams again. So that will be premiering. But this is important because Charmaine, she's had a YouTube channel for quite a while. And her daughter were always doing podcasts, not on YouTube though. Okay. Now, Charmaine really wants to start building her channel as well. And it was the same thing with Melissa, which you guys see American Justice in here. We covered Delphi. And then it gave her the incentive, of course, for Melissa to really want to start bringing up her channel as well. But so you guys, I really want you guys to support Charmaine in this, please, because she does a lot of work. She comes on these lives all the time. And of course, we want to see her build her channel, but subscribers helps. It brings awareness. And that's the main important point to me of exactly what I like to do is just spread awareness really about the cases. And the more viewers and subscribers you have, obviously, the more that it's seen, the more that people hit the like button and the algorithm, it keeps these cases and helps support the channel, obviously. So yes, this is a big thank you because nobody else is going to show you this besides this channel, but it is because of Charmaine. So I want to make that loud and clear. We love Charmaine, don't we, Kent?
We absolutely do.
Absolutely. Oh, exactly. So please, you guys, as Kent's going to be talking in just a second, just go over there, subscribe to her channel. Again, you're going to be able to have the full entirety. Now, please know, of course, that when we play this video in just a little bit here, that it's going to have, of course, watermarks on it because, again, you guys would not be seeing this if it wasn't for Charmaine. And she deserves people to know about her channel and to support her channel. Simple as that. Okay. So again, that and the entirety of it is about 49 minutes long from start to finish. And you guys will hear Charmaine ask her question as it moves along as well. And again, and I want to thank, obviously, Ali Thompson. I want to thank Lindsay Jones from the Globe and Mail and Ali was it Thomas or Thompson? Thompson, I think it is. Anyways, again, great people. And so to recognize those news channels. But like I said, they can't play it all. Now, Kent, I want to get the elephant in the room here before we get started.
Well, just before 1 second, they want you to name Sonny's channel, or Charmaine's channel. Tell them what it is, because it's a little bit blurry in some people's screens. So what's the name of the channel?
I don't know if people don't have glasses on, but this is crystal clear. It's called True Crime Story Pod with Bree and Shar. And again, I'll drop the link in there. Maybe it's a little bit smaller. Maybe
Ben has dropped a link too, but I just wanted you to verbalize the.
Yeah, there you guys go. Okay, so let's see. You guys, I can see that it was at 396 and I seen 401. Now I see 406. So let's see how you guys are doing. Let's see. Come on, you guys. Like I said, give Charmaine the love. She deserves it. Especially being 433. You guys are doing awesome. Oh my goodness. You guys, thank you guys so much. That's exactly what we want to see. You know, it's honestly, I just want to say about this again. But for the fact that, again, we are a YouTube channel and we work differently than obviously the news, and they're not able to pull out the full version. I mean, they could if they wanted to, I suppose, right? But that's not how they work, but that's how we work over here, because we want to see the whole thing of what was said. Don't you guys? Don't you guys? Instead of all this stuff, we want to hear it from the horse's mouth, which is the Zoom meeting and Pike, and I think the other guy's name was Dave and whatever, but we want to hear it from the horse's mouth. But bottom line is, this is about Jack and Lily, and you guys deserve this information. It's public, like meaning it's okay, absolutely 100% to share this with you guys. Okay, Charmaine went in it through the proper channels again as press pass, and was able to, like I said, you've seen it on other channels where they got little blurbs, but we're going to show you the whole darn thing. So thank you guys so much for subscribing to Charmaine. Now, to kill the elephant in the room, Kent, let's talk about the fact that Daniel and Darren ended up coming to your place approximately last week, I think it was. So just to, again, just tell it like it is there, Kent.
Yeah, I've got nothing to hide. And as you've seen floating around, possible different chats or chats of the YouTube channels. Darren brung Daniel to my place last Wednesday evening. There was nothing secret about it. He brung Daniel down because Darren believes that I'm a trustworthy person, and Daniel hasn't really responded to my Facebook messages since when I was asking him questions for Sonny, and he knew that I was relaying them back to Sonny, and I had permission to do that. But we haven't really chatted a lot since then. And Darren just thought that I'm trustworthy enough that Daniel should be able to meet me in person and decide for himself whether he believes me or not. So that was the reasoning for it. Now, I know on several other channels, they are reporting that apparently Daniel gave me a binder or papers or whatever. Absolutely not true. Neither Darren or Daniel had anything in their hands when they get out of the vehicle, except Darren had his cell phone and Daniel had a pair of sunglasses. Like I say, my phone number and my email are out there, or you can message me on Facebook Messenger, and I will answer almost anything about myself, or if you have questions and think that I'm getting information or have information. I will tell you, there was no big secrets revealed at this meeting with myself and Daniel. The only piece of new information that I could say that I attained from about 20, maybe 30 minutes that they were here, that was the first time that I heard from Daniel about him saying that, which he's saying out in public now, that none of Malaya's clothes came back from doing laundry. The only stuff that was at the house of hers was the stuff that was still clean and in the house. When he unpacked the laundry, none of her clothes were there. So either she kept them in a separate bag and left them in the car when she got home, or she left them at Patty's. That's the only piece of new information. Like I say, the rest of the 20 minutes or so, like, we weren't really even completely talking about the case the whole time. It was more of an opportunity for Daniel to judge myself and feel if Daniel feels that I'm honest or not. The same as you guys have to judge me. And if you have questions, I'd rather you contact me rather than talk about me, as some people are. Yeah, and in tonight's video, as I put in the 2 chats that I am in this afternoon, this information is not new, but it's stuff we've heard about in the last couple of days. The thing that is new is that we're going to be hearing it from the horse's mouth rather than reporters giving it in their point of view, or a media news TV news station, which, like Sonny says, only has time to show parts of it.
Correct. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, Charmaine, Kent, and I, we all talk to different people. Okay. Bottom line is, regardless, all we want is answers for Jack and Lily. So I'm not here to tell Kent who to talk to, who not to talk to. I'm here for myself, of course, for the channel, and to find out answers for Jack and Lily. I know Kent is, I know Charmaine is, and I know you guys are as well. Okay. That's the bottom line of it all. Not here to play games with anybody. Again, if there's something to be asked, ask us, right? We're all as transparent as we can be, right? There's sometimes we can't say if somebody gave us something because they asked us not to, like anything typical, right? But we're as transparent as they come, really, when it comes to just being authentic and honest. So again, I trust Kent, I trust Charmaine, and you try to put your faith in stuff and like that, and people that just honestly want to have answers for Jack and Lily. That's all I care about. And the other stuff is just noise. Okay. So regardless, if Daniel wants to, say that that Malaya has the children hidden and that's his prerogative and that's what he want to say, I mean, again, I'm not in charge of what he says or how he does, but I'm certainly always going to talk about things that don't make sense. And I'm certainly going to talk about inconsistencies. And I'm certainly going to talk about anything that has to do with Jack and Lily's case. Absolutely. But anyways, with that being said, so I'm going to start off. Oh, you guys are doing great for Charmaine. Again, this information that we're watching today is because, again, Charmaine reactivated the press pass from the production company. That's why she was able to be in this meeting on Teams. And so, like I said, this is the only channel that's going to show it. And we want the awareness. We want you guys to hear. For Jack and Lily, we want you guys to hear exactly what was said in that meeting. And then you guys can take away with it whatever you want. But at least it's coming from the horse's mouth. And you guys know we love to show receipts when we can and stuff like that. So again, please go subscribe to Charmaine's channel. She needs the support. She wants to start building up her channel. And you guys love Charmaine. A lot of you guys love having her on channel. And so this is the least we can do for Charmaine for being able to watch this today. Okay, guys? So appreciate that. Hey, Travis. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start off with to show you is this, okay? Now, Daniel was in the chat the other live, okay? And he was talking up a storm, and people were asking him a bunch of questions and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know what, Daniel, if you want to answer people's questions, have at it. I'm just going to play the podcast thing again from the other day. And people were asking him questions, and Daniel was asking or answering people's questions, okay? But one of the first things that Daniel did say was, I'm not impressed with investigators not even informing me or my mom. I should release all the information I brought to major crimes that would point fingers. It's undeniable I hold back. Now, the reason I'm going to show you this is because I'm going to show you something else, obviously. And again, let me just go to that actually. 1 second. Let me pull up stop screen, share screen. We're going to watch one of the interviews that Daniel had, and it's this one right here. Okay, it's 2 minutes and 7 seconds long. And then after we're done this, we're going to get into the actual teams meeting about the cadaver dogs and the trainers and stuff like that. Thank you, Shannon, for doing that. Let's see. Actually, let's just quickly take a look who got that. Bobby Joe got that membership. So thank you very much for paying it forward. It's always nice when people have memberships or give people memberships. And of course, it pays it forward to somebody else. So that's nice and supports the channel, obviously. Okay. So we're going to play this here. I'm just going to make the screen bigger. It was an interview, obviously, that you can see here. 1 second. And where is it? Okay. So we're going to play this out.
Daniel Martell has been asking Rcmp for months to call in cadaver dogs to search for his 2 missing stepchildren. Now the time has come.
It's going to be really hard work now that there's so much vegetation in the woods, but I'm pretty happy that they're going to be able to do it.
4-year-old Jack Sullivan and his 6-year-old sister Lily were reported missing on May 2nd. They were last seen at their home in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, a rural community deep in the woods. Nearly 5 months later, there's still no trace of them. Rcmp say they need to keep their minds open to any possibility.
What's important to remember is that at this time we don't have any definitive information to support that the children are deceased, but we have to keep our minds open and look at all investigative avenues.
Rcmp did bring in search dogs to scour the area here in Lansdowne Station when the children first went missing back in May. At the time, dogs were given pieces of Jack and Lily's clothing to track their scent, but nothing was found other than a piece of Lily's blanket, which fit.
Just quickly, obviously you guys can see the pink blanket. This is a solid pink blanket that's in the children's room, okay? Now they're on the back. If you picture it from the back side, Malaya's and Daniel's room was at the very end, and Lily's and Jack's was right beside her. Okay, this is a totally different pink blanket that a lot of people saw in the window. Okay, not to be confused with the piece that was in the garbage and the piece that was in the tree that are of the same blanket. Okay.
And
So
Daniel said that there was 2 different pink blankets.
Well, there is, and I had showed Daniel the picture of this one in the window. You know, and what he had said at that time was, I can see why people got confused or whatever. Bottom line is that, again, this blanket in the window has nothing to do with the case. It's the blanket that was in the garbage that his mom, Janie, saw him put in there. And then, like I said, a piece of it and the mile down on the Lansdowne Station Road, or right at the corner there, basically. But anyway, so I just wanted to point that out because a lot of people were talking about that blanket before.
Family members actually located on their own.
Human remains detection dogs are specific to human remain odor, and that's completely different from live searching.
Rcmp say 2 dogs will come to Nova Scotia from British Columbia to conduct the specialized search, a bleak mission. But Martell isn't expecting it will bring answers.
So are you thinking that the dogs will go in there and won't find anything?
I know for 100% they won't find anything. I mean, that's probably why they waited this long to do it. Just to keep the public informed, I guess. that they're hard at work.
Our
Okay. So the reason, okay, 1 second here. So the reason I wanted to show that is obviously the message that I put up is that Danielle was upset that him and his mom weren't told. Well, neither was Malaya. Okay. And so nobody was told, but he was upset about that. But I don't understand why he's upset, because if he thinks the children are alive, what does it really matter? So I feel like that was a bit of a dig at the RCMP, like they're pretending like they're hard at work and they're bringing the cadaver dogs in just because, you know, the public is asking. Well, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're going to be playing the entirety of the interview, and then you guys can listen to it from the horse's mouth yourself of exactly everything that was said. Okay. So it's one of those things like, Kent, is that the first time that Daniel's actually said that he believes like well, no, I don't think it's the first time he said he believes.
No, he's been telling us that he believes that the children
on the media
have been alive, like by blaming Malaya and or Cindy for taking the kids, right?
But I'm talking about to the media. The media.
Yeah, as far as out to the media. And when you say Mama Angie, I just want to reply to Mama Angie. You say that he says that he's 100% sure that they're not in the woods.
Hi, boss man.
Because he knows where they are, and had inferring that he had something to do with it. You will find out, and this is the main reason why we're playing the teens video, so that you get the information from the horse's mouth. They don't need the kids to still be in the woods or on the property, around the property, for these what do they call them? Human remains detection dogs.
Yeah.
Because if they were dead on the property, the scent, that's what these dogs are trained for, and that will still be on the property, so they don't need to find the kids for the dogs to alert. But you'll see that in the video.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so I know I was going to say something else, but I totally forgot. We'll just play this. Well, I mean, that was the point, though, is that I believe that was his first time actually saying, like, basically they're alive. So what's the point? You know, I know that they're alive. So that's why I'm like, why be upset then that you guys weren't told? Because it's not like you guys, regardless, are suspects. You know, even if they haven't named you suspects, you know, you guys are on the property, right? And the children disappeared underneath yours and Malaya's care regardless. So regardless of if they haven't said suspects or anything like that, again, they're here. You're going to listen to it, and they're going to tell you exactly what they can, obviously, when it comes to the dogs and what they can do. And I want to make it, that was it. I want to make a correction, because there was one guy from Innisfail, Alberta. Okay. And then the other guy, which is Pike. And then the other guy, I think his name is Dave, is from Vancouver. So you guys are welcome. You guys are welcome, right? For the 2 dogs that we're sending you from Vancouver, from my end of town. Yeah. The dogs are coming from Vancouver, people. That's right.
One of them. That's the other correction.
No. 2.
I think you'll find that one is from Alberta and one is from BC, but we'll argue about that after the team's meeting.
We're not going to argue about that, because I had that conversation with Lindsay and she corrected me. So I went back to exactly listen to what he said, and it's both dogs are coming from BC.
Okay, either or, like I say, we find out why. We find out why in this meeting too, folks, of why it might be so long since they're able to get them here. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll just play this out and then we'll go right over to the meeting in just a second. Okay, guys?
CMPs say for officer safety and the integrity of the investigation, they won't disclose when the new search will begin or where exactly the cadaver dogs will be deployed, only that it won't be this weekend. Angela McIver, CBC News, Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia.
Okay, and you guys will hear those words yourself. And what it said was, it said in the upcoming days, to a few weeks, meaning that in the next upcoming days, the dogs will be searching. Okay, but obviously a question was asked about how long it will take, but anyways, you guys can listen to it for yourself and hear it verbatim. So again, I'm just gonna say this before we get started. Now again, Charmaine was able to get her press pass. Again, we heard about it on the live as I was doing a live with the podcast from the Globe and Mail on the Decibel. And so Charmaine was scrambling. So just know that it's still going to be good quality, but it's going to be just a little bit tilted. Okay. She was racing around. So it's not news, like how they're popping their faces up like that. You guys are just going to watch the whole thing in its entirety. Okay. So let me get that ready. And that's going to be a video file. Again, please go subscribe to Charmaine and just be very grateful and thankful that Charmaine was able to get in there and underneath her press pass, and we're able to show you this in its entirety, unlike the news. But thank you to the news for everything that, of course, they're doing. Okay, so I don't want that one. I want this. Okay.
Well, it's shortly past 3, and we'll get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending. I'm Corporal Guillaume Tremblay with the Nova Scotia Rcmp. I'll be your moderator this afternoon. Bonjour à tous, je suis Caporal Guillaume Tremblay de la GRC en Nouvelle-Écosse. Je serai votre modérateur pour aujourd'hui. I'm joined today with the two RCMP's subject matter experts in police dog services. With us today, we have Staff Sergeant Steve Pike. He is the program manager of the RCMP Police Dog Services Training Center. And also joined with us is Sergeant Dave Whalen, a supervisor in the RCMP Police Dog Services. Staff Sergeant Pike and Sergeant Whalen are here to answer questions about the police dog human remains detection. Aujourd'hui, je suis accompagné de deux experts de la GRC dans le domaine des services de chiens de police. Le sergent d'état-major Steve Pike, gestionnaire de programme au centre de dressage des chiens de la GRC, et le sergent Dave Whalen, superviseur des services de chiens de police de la GRC. Le sergent d'état-major et le sergent Whalen sont ici pour répondre aux questions spécifiques à la détection des restes humains par les chiens policiers. As noted in the advisory about their availability, they're not here to speak directly about an investigation they're supporting. They are here to answer questions regarding human remains detection and police dog services. I also have with me here today my colleague Ian McDonald, who is online to assist the question and answer period. We will take one question and one follow-up from each of you, and we will proceed in alphabetical order. When asked the questions, Ian will proceed and unmute your mic, and then you can proceed with the question and the follow-up afterwards. Please state your name and the agency that you represent. Comme indiqué dans l'avis aux médias, il ne participent pas directement aux enquêtes, mais ils les supportent. Alors, ils sont ici aujourd'hui pour répondre aux questions en relation d'être maître chien et des détections de restes humains. Si vous avez des questions directement pour l'enquête, s'il vous plaît, communiquez avec les communications stratégiques de la GRC en Nouvelle-Écosse. Avec moi ici aujourd'hui, j'ai aussi mon collègue Ian McDonald qui est en ligne pour nous assister avec la période de questions-réponses. Durant la période de questions-réponses, s'il vous plaît, limitez-vous à une question et un suivi et indiquez quelle agence et votre nom. Just as a reminder, if you have any investigative questions specifically, you can contact the Nova Scotia Rcmp Strategic Communications and direct those questions there. I'll hand over the floor to Staff Sergeant Pike for a quick intro, and then we'll follow up with Sergeant Whalen.
Thank you. As mentioned, my name is Stephen Pike. I'm a member of the RCMP, currently posted at the Police Dog Service Training Center, located in Innisfil, Alberta, where we are responsible for the breeding program and the training and validations of all the RCMP police service dogs across Canada. My role as program manager oversees that as for the national level.
Thank you, Staff Sergeant Pike. We'll pass things over to Sergeant Whalen.
Hey, my name is Sergeant Dave Whalen. Stationed down in the Lower Mainland of Vancouver, BC. My current role is a training NCO for a large team down in Vancouver. I've got just about 35 years experience, 21 years of that as a dog handler, and I spent 5.5 years working with Staff Sergeant Pike in the Police Dog Service Training Center, and I'm currently a human remains dog handler with my dog Kit.
Thank you both, and as noted, both will be in Nova Scotia to assist with investigations here with the Nova Scotia Rcmp. I'll hand things over to Ian. We'll start with the question and answer period. We'll proceed alphabetically. Thank you, Ian.
Good day, folks. We will proceed alphabetically as per my participant list via Teams. So, Adam, pardon me if I get your last name wrong, Ponce, you're up. No? Okay. We will proceed with Allie Thompson.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'd like to know why now? Why not earlier in this investigation?
Ali, I can take that question of the police dog services here. And in regards, I'm assuming you're talking about the Lily and Jack bomb?
Yeah.
So earlier on, very active investigation, a lot of resources, hundreds of volunteers, thousands of volunteer hours, square kilometers for search thoroughly. And we have to keep our options open, look at every investigative avenue. To this date, we've received over 800 tips. We've done 80 interviews, over 1,000 tasks, and reviewed over 8,000 videos. Certainly, there's a lot of work in missing persons investigation. And this is, the next step with our resources. We're looking at every resource that's available, and investigators are working very hard every day on this file.
That does not answer my question. Let me rephrase it. When are cadaver dogs usually brought into such missing persons investigations? Is there any sort of timeline that police look at for that?
Did you want me to jump in there?
Yeah, sure thing, Steve, if you want to take that first portion, and if it's specific to Lily and Jack's search, I can certainly handle that.
No, it would just be in general terms. In regards to the question there, at what point do they come in? And it was similar to be echoing what you had stated. It's a certain stage of a process. So to incorporate a human's remains detection, you would have to believe that there's reason to
This is a true crime story
that decomposition
podcast.
is taking place. Other than that, when the investigation would start, you have to rule out all other possibilities. Are they missing? Are they simply wandered off? So until you accomplish all those other, as you said, information coming in, tips that are coming in, you have to process all that information. If not, for a police service dog to be utilized to its most effective, you want a clean slate, for lack of better terms. You don't want to have so many variables of so many searchers and rescuers taking part in that search that the dogs now don't have a clear picture of what their task is. You and I could explain to each other, hey, we're looking for someone wearing this clothing. If we deploy the dog, they have to decipher that world, but from a scent perspective. So how do they distinguish? We want to make it as accessible as possible so that we deploy the resources with the most effective outcome.
Ali, if I can add as well, earlier on, the police dog services here in Nova Scotia did deploy to the scene, and they were trained to detect human scent, and they were heavily involved in the searches in very early on, as soon as the call came in.
So this isn't the first time that dogs that can detect human remains have been deployed in the search?
So the dogs that police dog services here in Nova Scotia can detect human scent, so they can track a person through the woods, for example.
Okay. And my follow-up, how long is this work expected to take? What kind of timeline do these investigations follow?
The timeline's basically, there's no real answer to that because we don't know what we don't know. So if we're going to deploy and search for whatever the case might be, whatever that target could be, whether it be explosives, drugs, live humans, decomposition material, you go till you alleviate all those possibilities, all those tips, if you will, all those highest areas of probability. So there's no real timeline to follow until you extinguish all possibilities.
Thank you, Ellie. Ian, we can go down the list.
Perfect. Andrew Sampson.
To ask you, Kent, is there anything that you wanted to, because there's questions, everyone's entitled to a question, right, guys? And like I said, Charmaine will have the full one, and without any, say, interruptions. Oh, Kent, I gotta unmute you. Hold on. My bad. Sorry. Was there anything that you wanted to say to any of that?
No, just that they don't actually make the declaration that it could only be death now. I know that's what it sort of infers when they answered that question, because I'm just responding to what people were saying in the comments. But as I replied, there'll be further questions developing that. So when it's all done, you'll say, okay, yes, they're leaning that way, but it's not that it's 100% that way.
Yeah, and remember, you guys, this is strictly about questions about the dogs and the information. They're not there to answer anything specifically towards Jack and Lily's investigation. But again, this is what was said, and this is it in its entirety of it. And we'll play some more for you guys, okay? Obviously, again, you guys, please go sub to Charmaine, because of Charmaine, we're able to watch all of this. You're able to hear every question and watch them all talk. So again, please go support Charmaine's channel, and the link keeps getting dropped. That's a true crime story podcast, and let me just hit paste on there. Okay, guys, thank you.
Hi, folks. Just a really quick question before I ask my actual question. You said the dogs that searched were trained for human scent. That's different than human remains. That would be a human that was still alive. Is that true? Is that the case?
Thanks for that question. So yeah, earlier on, the police dog services here in Nova Scotia, whenever we call their services for an investigation, it would be to track a person's scent. It could be a break and enter where the person of interest runs off the force. It could be a person who is missing. There's many scenarios where we would call on police dog services here in Nova Scotia.
Okay, thank you. So my question is, earlier it was mentioned that, you don't bring in the cadaver dogs until it's clear that, you're searching for remains. You don't want to confuse it with the other people searching. But we know that the search hasn't been active for months now. And, I think even as early as May 7th, police were saying it was unlikely the children were still alive. So with that known, I'm curious why it has taken so long to bring these dogs in.
Sorry, go ahead.
I can answer that first portion there. In regards to the investigation, there's certainly a lot of steps at the very beginning, a lot of information that's being gathered by those investigators, and they have to follow up on those leads, right? We have to keep our minds open to any possibility, and certainly, we are open to any scenario in this case, and we have our police dog service experts that are coming in at this time.
I'll just add to that. I was a diver with the Rcmp, and we would have to search. And what it comes down to is you search the areas of highest probability. So any investigation would have to direct you or point you into areas of highest probability. For the resources, all the background that it takes to locate areas of possible interest, for lack of better terms. So do you just each day pick a new area? Well, where do you target this to use the resources most effectively? Again, it's, as you stated, it's somewhat time sensitive. So if you burn out all your resources earlier on without having true information to lead you to the area of highest probability, that's all for now.
Okay, and just to follow up then, the fact that you are going to search with these dogs now, do you guys know what the area of highest probability is now where you're searching, and are you able to say where that is?
I can answer that question, Steve and Dave. So for officer safety and the integrity of the investigation, we're not going to disclose where our officers are going to be searching in the coming days or in the coming weeks. It's certainly for their safety. It's for the integrity. And I understand that all Nova Scotians want to know what happened to Lily and Jack, and our officers do too. And we know it's going to take time. We wish it'd be faster, but we have to be patient.
Thank you, Andrew. Keith Doucette?
Hi, thanks. I wondered, and not to belabor the point, but I wonder if somebody can clearly state the difference between a cadaver dog and the dogs that you were using, since the dogs that you were using were capable, I understand, of picking up the scent of somebody who just died. So what's the difference now? Is it time?
So the dogs that would have that deploy generally, so human remains detection dogs are specific to human remain odor, and that's completely different from live searching. So as of you, me right now, our scent is made up of your own personal as well as your secondary odors, such as your laundry detergents or any cosmetics or an environment in which you work in. So for example, if I was a mechanic, I'd be working in different chemicals, oils, so on and so forth. That would be adding to those components. All of that, our dogs are trained to search, whether it be tracking, as it was mentioned before, or even just searching. The dogs can recognize a human odor, as well as they can recognize scented materials. So for example, clothing items, evidence that is discarded. So there's 2 or 3 gamuts of what those original dogs that may deploy, we call them full profile or multi-profile police service dogs. They're the well-rounded, do a little bit of everything dog. When it comes to an HRD, they specifically do human remains decomposition. So that, like I said, that is a completely different gamut of possibilities, or a profile that they would search for. So they would be more specific, whereas the other teams would be more generalized into those items of interest. Could have been clothing that they could have found. The human remains detection dogs, they would not necessarily indicate on those. They may show some interest, but only be indicating to us to further the investigation in regards to the presence of human remains odor. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, no, it's helpful. And with regards to the specialized dogs, how successful are they generally in searches? In other words, if you're in an area and there is a body there that you hadn't previously detected, are they going to find it necessarily?
Dogs will only find it if the odor is present. So when we search, how do I describe this? In Nova Scotia, back in 2017, there was a research study conducted with the Medical Examiner's Office and the Rcmp. This is kind of the building blocks of the human remains detection program for the Rcmp. And when they did their study, I believe it was published in 2017, and their status for the training exercises was a 94% success rate. And out of that, that's where we developed our program. and how we started incorporating that into our training. So in regards to operationally, there's so many factors that could come into place. One, if that odor is not being released for whatever reason, well, then the dog won't be able to pick up on that odor. It's in essence not present. So if we take a Ziploc bag, for example, and it's completely airtight, and the odor is no longer present, well, the dogs won't indicate on that. We may visually be able to see that, but if the odor isn't present, the dogs are trained for odor. Once that odor is released, whatnot, then that dog would indicate to its handler. So this is why it's that team effort as well. The dogs may show interest on something and bring the handler closer, where they might be able to locate it as a team effort.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next, Marnie Ellis.
Thank you. I'm wondering how long after death are these dogs most effective in searching? How long can they successfully search for? How long is the odor good for?
Again, there's so many variables. If I'm a larger individual, well, there's more material that will be releasing gases, and so it will be around for a longer period of time. The conditions, is there a slow release, or is it, is the predator or scavenger interaction? There's so many different variables. You won't be able to put a timeline on any of those components. There's, like I said, it basically is an educated guessing. You would have to take in all those parameters and conditions in how the remains have been placed or laid or decomposing, and what effect the environment and or the situation unfolds.
Yeah, a lot of it is,
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
yeah, a lot of it is environmentally based, and for example, what Staff Pike was talking about is what was the person wearing, where did they pass on? Is it in the fall? Is it during the midsummer? All that will have an effect on the human body. But what we can say is our dogs have been finding bones just out in the forest. And when those bones are put down, we can kind of trace back whenever that person went missing, to know that, okay, this is reasonable to know, kind of thing. So, so we, all different stages of decomposition is that our dogs are going to be able to detect for us.
We've had a very hot, dry summer here. Does that make the situation better or worse for your dogs?
I think I'd be very confident if we can get our dogs in the right area, that our dogs, even if it's been a hot, dry summer, that should be fine for us.
Okay, and last question. So these dogs, the human detection dogs, we don't have any of those in Nova Scotia. They have to come from elsewhere. Is that correct?
Correct. The only one on the East Coast is in PEI right now.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, Marnie. Up next, we have Heidi the Project.
I'll just come back to this just for a second. So basically, when it comes along, you guys, like, as you're listening to it, they'll tell you. So it doesn't matter if it's in, honestly, shit or soil or whatever. They can pick up on human, what do they call it? Human decomposition, regardless. But they'll talk about stuff like that in a sense, as it moves along there. So I just want to say that now. Just to ask you quickly, Kent, was there anything? I mean, as you hear, right? It's all about the scent dogs and how they were used, right? And the one in PEI has a medical issue. So, like I said, and as it moves along, you'll hear about where the dogs are coming from, Vancouver, both, and stuff like that. But was there anything you wanted to add, Kent?
Well, just some of the questions, and I've been answering some questions in the chat. But like I say, we're here to hear this stuff from the horse's mouth, not my mouth. So
yeah,
listen to once we're done. If you have any additional questions or you have to go back, well, then you're going to be able to. But
Absolutely.
I want to stress how important and how thankful everybody should be for Charmaine renewing her press pass and getting in to this presser.
Absolutely. So again, you guys would not be seeing this in its entirety if it was not for Charmaine. So kudos to Charmaine. Go support her channel. That's her link right there. True Crime Story Podcast. And again, I'm grateful. You know what I'm grateful for not only was Charmaine, of course, involved, of course, in this meeting. You're going to hear her ask her question, but it's the fact that we can actually bring this to you as well. So that's why, this is one of those big kudos to Charmaine, that we literally get to play this for you. So you guys don't have to question it. You guys are hearing it from the horse's mouth. And I've listened to it 3 times myself. And there's something you miss kind of each, as you're listening to it again. But anyways, kudos, Charmaine. Thank you so much for all that you do on the It's a Crime and Shame channel, and all that you did, of course, to be able to be part of this press meeting. Thank you so much. And we'll get back into it.
Hi, just sorry, looking for my mute. It's Heidi Petrocic with Global National. Thanks for doing this. I have a technical question. If something is buried, what's the depth of scent detection that a human remains dog can do? Has that ever been studied?
For the most part, service dogs are lacking the scientific research and support just because it's relatively new, especially in Canada. They're pushing the limits. They're reaching out and expanding those limits all the time on the research. There's an advanced decomposition facility that's been recently opened in the last 5 or so years at Trois-Rivières in Quebec. I believe there's some talk that they're looking at doing one in Ontario. So the science is trying to catch up. In regards to the depth, again, I don't know of any specific answer to that. The presence of odor. If the odor is there and it's being released, whatever depth it might be, whatever conditions it might be in, if the dogs are able, as Dave said here a few moments ago, if we have the ability to put the dogs in close proximity to where that odor is being released, the dogs will be successful.
True Crime Story.
It's whether the odor is there and being released at the time that the dog is present.
In your experience, or in the experience of the other officer as well, have you ever found remains that have been buried to a significant depth?
Yes.
What would the depth have been in your recollection?
I think a significant depth would be a sliding scale for many people, but it was at least 2 feet, I would say. If that's significant or not, like Staff Pike was just saying, air was being released and it was making it to the surface for our dog to go and find. You can relate this directly to our avalanche dogs, even the Carta dogs, the Canadian avalanche people. They're finding avalanche victims that are buried in snow many meters deep, but there's air being released through all the little different snow tracks to the surface. Those dogs are finding that odor, and that's live odor. Obviously, they're being buried, but yes, we do train for buried as well.
Our training standard is the 2 feet, 60 centimeters. As well, I was on some training exercises in the States, and the teams were exposed to the training exercises to depths of up to 6 feet. And the dogs were indicating.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. I see that several people have their hands up there. I'm going to ask you to lower the hand just because you're throwing off the list of individuals I have and I don't want to miss anybody. So if you could lower those, that would be appreciated. We can continue on. Thank you. So up next, I'm going to go to Lindsay Jones.
Hi there, Lindsay Jones with the Globe and Mail, and I have a question picking up on Heidi's. I'm wondering, can these dogs detect odors underwater and in ashes as well?
So our training standards, we do expose the teams, and they have been successful in water and burnt remains. We have one of our teams that we train. It's not directly Rcmp, it's a partner agency. They were involved in a search, and when they deployed on a boat, and they have markings that coincide with the wind and the current, where divers went in and located, and his dog, he reported his dog indicating in 3 or 4 locations along that path, and that body was recovered, I believe it was 18.2 meters, 60 feet.
Oh, thank you. And one more question. Can you locate original locations of remains after a body has been moved?
So what we would call that, again, I don't know if the correct term or not, so apologize. Feel free to fact check me here and get back to me. We would call it dirty dirt. And what would happen is if
Yeah, he kind of gets a little bit laggy here for a sec.
materials we're looking, well, like our dogs indicate, as long as that presence, and again, we'll go back to what we said before, if the presence of human remains decomposition material is there, our dogs will indicate. And they've indicated on tools, equipment, and different things where I'm paraphrasing what your question is there. Will they find an original theme? Depends on what material is present to be off-gassing to releasing that decomposition odor.
Thank you.
I think an example, Lindsay, is literally just yesterday I was doing some training with my dog. I have a box in our training facility that we use.
This is a true crime story
I've got
podcast.
2 pieces of bone, they're femurs.
This is a true crime story
dirt
podcast.
inside of that box and put the femurs inside of the dirt. Yesterday, I just took maybe a tablespoon of dirt out, put it in the middle of the parking lot, and let my dog go for a search, and we went and found this dirt in the middle of a parking lot. So yes, we are able to go and find what you think is called an original scene. There's remains inside the dirt, with the dirt binded to the dirt, and yes, our dog should be able to tell us that it's there.
Thank you, Lindsay. Chris Lambie.
Hi there, Chris Lambie, National Post. Were these specialized dogs available before now?
Again, these dogs have been functioning. The RCMP have had human remains detection dogs. Our first course that we put off was 2017, and our numbers have fluctuated everywhere from the original 4. We've had as many as 11, I believe, and currently we're sitting in around that 6 to 8 that are operational. So, for example, my partner there, Dave, when he mentioned in PEI, that dog handler, that team, they wouldn't be able to respond to calls for service right now, but due to some medical.
Okay. So if you have a dog that can do this in PI, why are you 2 coming from OS to do this?
Hey, Kent. You know what? Every time you were doing that, I thought you were just waving. Okay, 1 second. Let me unmute you, I suppose. Go on now.
I wanted to stop there so that maybe we could go back and help clarify what they actually said when the internet was cutting out there.
Go ahead.
And basically what it is, folks, is as I answered a question in the chat, is they stated that they don't need the actual body to be there at the time of detection. What they basically said is if someone died and within and they never set a time frame as far as minutes go, but from the time when somebody dies on forward, there is a decomposition odor starting to be released. So if there was location number 1 where a decomposition body was at, and then moved to location number 2, 3, 4, 5, however many, but if the dog gets within the range area, so if the bullseye of the area is close enough to the dog, even though the body is now in location number 6, the dog will alert if it was ever in position number 1 and started the decomposition project or process. Did Sonny go to the bathroom?
Nope, I was talking to myself, I suppose, on mute. just testing my mute out. That's all. Oh no, all I said was is that they call it dirty, like you said, because somebody had asked exactly the good question, right? Because people were asking that, obviously, is it still going to pick up, in the original spot of where it was from? So, like I said, a good question, but it kind of cut out there and stuff like that. So again, if a bear was taking a shit, right, and it had anything to do with the death of a child, and that poop had some freaking human remains decomposition smell, the bear will pick it up. Just no different than when he said he's talking about soil and putting it in there, and the dog was able to detect the smell on the soil, right? But anyway, so we'll continue playing. Is that good? Okay, we're good. So yeah, it did get a little bit laggy there, but I mean, you can blame that. You can blame that on Charmaine. It's probably her computer. No,
that's
just kidding.
The internet. She got a new computer, so
she does have a new computer. Yeah. So again, if you guys aren't subscribed to Charmaine's channel, again, if it wasn't for Charmaine, we would not be watching this. We wanted you guys to see it, and here it is in the full form of the 49 minutes that it was. And again, it's a blessing, honestly. So thank you, Charmaine, again, for all your hard work that you do. And well, Kent, you too, of course. But in this case, this is a Charmaine moment. Okay.
Praise. Yep.
Okay, we'll continue playing.
That's what I just referenced. He wouldn't be able to deploy. Their team is on the sidelines due to medical reasons.
So did the RCMP want to search with cadaver dogs earlier than this?
Earlier to which, like I said, we
before now. Before now, did you want to use a cadaver dog but not have one available?
Again, that's specific to any investigation. I won't be able to comment in regards to a specific investigation. We deploy dogs when they're best suited to the information or the investigation details that we have.
Chris, do you have that specific?
Did you want cadaver dogs before this? We're not able to access them.
So I don't have that information at this time, and certainly we can take note of that and let's check with investigators. What's important to remember is that at this time we don't have any definitive information to support that the children are deceased, but we have to keep our minds open and look at all investigative avenues. And earlier on, like I said, we did have police dog services that could pick up human scent, and an extensive search with hundreds of volunteers that were present, right? So we're at the step at the investigation where we have to explore that avenue and bring in specialized human remains detecting dogs.
Thank you, Chris. Mitchell Bailey?
Yes, thank you. Has there been any tips or information received lately that are contributing to why the cadaver dogs are being deployed now at this point?
I can answer that question again. And at this time, we don't have any definitive information to support that children are deceased in the JACK&LILLY search. And our investigators are committed to finding out what happened to their disappearance. And this is another example of utilizing all services.
Okay, I do need to stop it there for a minute, because you guys realize that they kind of contradicted themselves. 1 minute they said once they've done, all the other searching and all the other avenues that, then they come into the cadaver dogs, and then it's kind of like, it's almost like one person said, how he said it earlier about, obviously there's a reason why they're called in now, because they've already investigated all the other avenues. And now it's kind of like, well, we don't know if the children are alive or not and stuff like that.
But that's where I was getting at earlier is
Right.
this is about the agency and the operation of the dogs, not specific updates pertaining to Jack and Lily's case. And I think that's where the two are very easily confused, that and refer in reference that they might take that before they had said that it's the next step because you exhaust all other leads. But right here, he says, as per this particular investigation, it's not necessarily that they have anything showing them that there's. Well, I'm saying that's exactly what they say, and that's the way that we got to look at it. Whether you believe that or not,
I'm looking at what I'm
your
hearing.
interpretation.
Yeah, I'm looking at exactly what I'm hearing. All right. Now, I just want to point out this out just quickly before we get back into it. So, obviously, again, this isn't the United States. This is Canada. We have very little dogs, it seems, and probably, who knows, right? Again, however, Rcmp here does their investigation, but damn right, if this was in the United States, you guys, cadaver dogs would have been on that scene that day. Simple as that. This is like so backwards, but at least I understood that we just simply lack the funds, the resources, and the availability of these dogs. And that's why they're coming from Vancouver.
But Sonny, you can't blame it. You can't blame it on just the dogs. It also takes qualified handlers. It's a team effort. So if we don't have the officers willing to step up, and you'll hear a couple things about that later. If you don't have the officers stepping up to become part of a dog team, the dog can't do the job by himself.
Well, obviously. Okay. But I'm just saying that we're a different amount of people, absolutely. Right? 40 million to like 370 million or whatever it is over there. But so I'm just saying is that we cover mostly the American coverage, because why? Because first of all, there's so much, like usually these big things don't happen in Canada so much. They're here and there. United States, you guys can pick out of probably 500 cases if you wanted to, right? So the amount and the difference between us, but because typically Charmaine has covered Canadian cases and I haven't, but I didn't get into it at all to be in true crime in the first place, let alone covering cases. And the cases that I ended up following were really out of the United States mostly, and a couple overseas, because of the fact that, like I said, you can get all the information that you can't get here pretty much. You can get over there easily. But it was just one of those things, the cases as they came up, whichever ones gravitated to my heart. And with kids, there's a ton of kids cases. But anyways, it just gave me a better understanding about why the cadaver dogs weren't there like I expected them to be, as in the United States cases. I didn't realize.
The other thing that I would like to stress here for people, because they're going to say, oh, well, we have more dogs than that, is yes, this is based upon the Rcmp numbers and their program. There is probably other cadaver dogs within Canada that are private, but this is all stuff relating to numbers within the RCMP policing.
Just gonna quickly now. I'm just gonna go back and play it. Okay, guys. Anyways, we're getting there. We're getting there. I hope you guys, like, regardless, they're not there to answer investigative questions about Jack and Lily's case. Besides, talk about the dogs, what they're doing, what they're bringing in, where they're coming from, and to answer those questions, the differences, of course, between an air scent dog and then a human remains detection dog and stuff like that. So, again, you know, this is, you guys get to see the whole enchilada of the whole meeting. So we'll keep playing it, okay, guys?
That are available to our officers, and we have to remain patient. I know, like the public, our officers want to know what happened, and we're not going to stop until we find out what happened.
This is a true crime story podcast.
And also, I just want to know, and I believe this was mentioned slightly before, but just looking to get a bit more information. Is there an ideal window to conduct these types of searches? Is there essentially an end period where it's been too long and the cadaver dogs might have increased difficulty identifying remains?
I believe we have one call for service where a team deployed 2+ years later and recovered material that had been located on the ocean floor during peak high tide or low tide moment that occurred every 10 years or every period of time. The handler was actually on holidays and heard about this tide occurring and made on his own time said, I have to go back and see if we can locate more. The investigation brought them to an area where they did find some bone, some material in around the shoreline. And with the low tide, they went out and they located out into the ocean further as the tide went out. So that would have been material that at least would have been 2+ years on the ocean floor. So again, it's I don't want to say it's limitless, but it's a new profile in regards to Canadian standards. Officially, it's only been in Canada in the last 10, 15 years, where people have been promoting it or been able to actively involved with it. And yeah, with so many variables in play, there's no definitive answer of what the dogs can or can't do. It's all based on the variables or circumstances to that specific incident.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mitchell. Jacob Moore.
Can you hear me all right? Yeah, I'm just wondering, can you say what you have ruled out so far in this case, in terms of where they might be and where the children have ended up?
Jacob, that's a good question. We mentioned that we search, I believe it's 8.5 square kilometers thoroughly with hundreds of volunteers. Search managers have provided interviews in the past where you can miss someone's remains. You can miss someone that could be under foliage or trees, or just last year, I believe we found a gentleman in proximity of a vehicle, and it was a missing person, and it was a year after they were gone missing. So how sure are we that we searched thoroughly? We definitely did search thoroughly, but we have missed something because of the foliage, because of a down tree, because of the weather, because of daylight hours. Absolutely. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add, Dave or Steve, regarding the experience you've had in the past there.
I was going to reference that same one that you mentioned there. Humans search visually. And if something is blocking the view or camouflaging, so on and so forth, this is why, as you said before, that what the dog can offer is that odor present. So they don't rely on the visual. They will take us to that foliage. They will take us to those somewhat concealed or buried or whatnot. If there's odor present, the dogs will locate it. And this is just another tool in the toolbox, for lack of better terms, and another way that we can go over any areas that might have been previously viewed and or new areas. This is, again, covering all avenues, possibilities.
Yeah, I had a follow-up on there. if these cadaver dogs turn up nothing in these woods after weeks or however long you're going to search, does that indicate to you that these children are elsewhere than these woods?
Jacob, yeah, go ahead, Dave, please.
Yeah, because I've done many searches where we haven't found anything. That does not mean to say that there isn't something there. It just means I wasn't able to get my dog into the proper area where there was a presence of the odor that he's been trained to find. And that's it. Like if we haven't found anything, it just means that my dog wasn't in the right area for the odor that he's been trained for.
This is
Thank you,
the True
Jacob.
Crime Story
Rebecca
podcast.
Lau.
So, if the dogs don't find anything, could the conditions change? And like if you came back, perhaps they could find something then?
Again, that will come down to the areas of probability, the odor releasing, the different gamuts. If for example it was a small area like the parking lot, as Dave said, from training exercises, we would search an area, and just as a precaution, or not precaution is the right word, just to reassure. Well, the winds could change, different parameters, so we would actually change their search patterning. And there's certain things that we will do with an operational handler to eliminate as many variables as possible. So all of those things will be considered in any investigation that we're doing. Does new information arise? So why would we continually go back to the same area unless we have reason to? Or why would we move to somewhere else unless we have reason to? And this goes down to the areas of highest probability and the best utilization of resources, whether it be the searchers. When any file first comes up, we usually try to find the last known location or possible locations, and this is where we start from. So for us to move or go different areas or locations, generally we're going to need or want something to pull us there, point us in those directions. So again, there's no definite answer because all those variables had to be considered, and then they had to be reanalyzed and new game plans made.
Okay. And just a point of clarification, how big is the team that's coming to Nova Scotia? How many handlers and how many dogs?
There's going to be, I can answer that. There's going to be 2 of us with a dog each. And one of the reasons why we chose to bring 2, one is simply just availability as well. But we're going to be doing a bunch of searching, and what Staff Sergeant Pike was just referring to is, let's say my dog is showing some interest over in whatever part of that we are searching, but he hasn't been able to find anything specifically, like he hasn't been able to get to the source of whatever odor that he's showing a good interest in. Okay, I'm going to pull my dog out and I'm going to get the other handler to come in, and I'm not even going to tell him what I've been seeing or even the location. I'm just going to let him go work that area the same way that, or the area that he thinks he should work it, and see if we have similar results. I'm doing the same thing here in the Lower Mainland. I was out searching for a missing dementia person that they had believed was in a specific area. I went out and searched this area. It was along the Fraser River. My dog is not a very, he'll go and work in water, but he won't go volunteer on his own unless he's got a reason to do it. He hopped into the Fraser River and started swimming around trying to find an odor in the water. Okay, well, that was pretty significant for me. I went back 2 days later. He showed me the same interest, same area. Okay, the underwater dive team came out to search the area. They didn't find anything. It doesn't mean that there isn't anything there. My dog was just out for a swim. The underwater recovery team probably didn't find the person on the bottom of the Fraser River. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get another dog to come out and verify that I'm not doing something wrong as well. So he's going to go and search and hopefully find the same location, so we can go back to the underwater recovery team and say, you guys have to do another search because there's definitely something in the Fraser River. So yes, to answer your question, is there's going to be two of us with two different dogs doing the same searches as we're going throughout the Atlantic region.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rebecca. Charmaine?
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Sorry. Thank you very much for doing this today. Could you talk a little bit about the training your dogs go through and also the age of your dogs?
For the Police Dog Service Training Center, we do the full gamut of training. We oversee the development of the younger dogs. We'll call that the imprinting stages. So breeding program develops or births the puppies. Those puppies then go with police officers in the field that are working towards becoming dog handlers through an apprenticeship program, and they work with the dogs to start. That was what we would call informal training. By the time the dog gets approximately a year and a half, so 18 to 24 months, they will start official training program. And they will do that with a teammate, the dog handler. That consists of 85 training days. So they'll start generally in the spring, April, and they'll run till the end of August, September. And that will be what we would call the full profile general duty police service team. Those teams then will have one of the specialties for detection. That could either be explosives, drugs, or human remains.
This is a
From there,
story podcast.
the explosives or human remains, they will actually return back to kennels, to the training center, PDSTC, for an additional training course, which is another 20 plus training days, so another month and a bit, where they will actually fine tune and hone those skill sets. So by the time the dog, there's a variable of age for the dog for the training, which would be from that year and a half to 2 years. So by the time they graduate, that would be in around that 2 to 2.5 years. By the time they finish that secondary detection portion, human remains or explosives, they're going to add another 5 or 6 months on there because the window by the time we get the courses organized. So I don't know if that answers your question in regards to the age or the duration of the training courses.
It does. Is there a process in place to kind of monitor their, lack of a better term, success rate, or is that?
So every year they will go through recertification, validations. They also are responsible to train minimum 8 hours every block, every week. That's minimum. They will take part in various in-service training. And again, they're honing their skills continuously throughout the operational life of that team.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charmaine.
I think I will.
Okay, just quickly. That was one of the big things that I really loved was Charmaine's questions in all of this. I hope this is really informative for you guys regardless, that this whole process. So again, thanks to Charmaine for allowing us to be able to, for her being able to get her press pass and being able to watch this and us to provide it to you guys. And grateful for that. Now, so just to, Kent, did he say it yet? So the two dogs are coming out of Vancouver. It's Waylon and Reddy. That will be the dog handlers that are coming from Vancouver. Has he said that part yet, or did I miss it? I was too busy looking for their names. Because I think people got confused because when I think his name is Dave or whatever, when Dave was talking about the dogs, it's kind of like he said, well, we're going to be bringing two, and it almost sounded like it was Pike and him bringing one from Innisfail. So that's why I needed to correct that, because I had that conversation. And if we haven't heard it yet, you will hear it, that the two dogs are coming out of Vancouver, and Waylon and Reddy are going to be the dog handlers. Oh, Kent's on mute. Hi, Kent. Sorry. I'm sitting there talking. And
no, we haven't heard that yet, and we're pretty near at the end. But
no, it's in there.
Waylon is David's last name. So it's David Waylon and Pike. And the dog's name are Rhett, not Kent, Rhett because when they say it, it does. I'm not bragging or anything, but it does sound. That was right at the beginning, I think, when they did that, Sonny. I thought.
So you're wrong. I was wrong. We heard it wrong.
We were wrong.
We were wrong. So that's why I needed to correct it, because Lindsay said it is my job to get the facts right. And if I was wrong, RCMP would have told me. They already emailed me, blah, blah, blah. And she says the trainer speaking from Alberta, he's not coming here as stated in the RCMP media release. Whalen and Reddy are coming to Nova Scotia, not Pike. Pike simply spoke during the media availability.
Well, that's where the mix-up came in.
Yeah. So, and that's why, because, you know, like I said, if there's misinformation, I want to correct it. Absolutely.
Yeah, they made it sound like those two gentlemen were the gentlemen that was coming, and one of them is David Whalen, and the other one is Pike.
Yeah, and that's why we got confused. But anyways, all right, going up, continuing.
Add on to what Staff Pike was saying is specific to our human remains group. All of our handlers that are in that human remains detection group are all very, very experienced police dog handlers. They've been in the field. They've got a lot of service and a lot of time behind the dog. Only because a lot of the investigations that we get involved in could be very high profile. Lily and Jack is a very good example, right? So we want to be able to have our most experienced or experienced handlers going to these investigations to assist as best as we can.
Thank you, Dave. Jen Tapp.
Hi there, Jen Tappan with the Chronicle Herald. Do you often work in the woods, heavy brush, like in the search area, which has been challenging for search and rescue personnel?
Yes, yes, quite. Most of our searches are in wooded areas, I would say, and they vary from. I was in Newfoundland 2 summers ago, and that was very, very thick. I imagine this is going to be very thick bush as well, from what I've been hearing from the local dog handlers. So, yes, we do very thick stuff.
Okay.
I believe.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I believe there was a stat I read a little while ago that the RCMP police 70% of the country landmass. So most of what the RCMP police will be your rural environments, because Ontario and Quebec, of course, it's only federal. But in regards to the rest of the country, they will do 70% of the landmass of Canada. So it's mostly a lot rural environments.
Okay, thank you. And how big of an area can you generally search in a day? And if I can also squeeze in the other dog team, where are they from? Is that Inspector Reddy?
Yeah, Inspector Reddy is he's our provincial E division, which is
True Crime Story podcast.
He's our provincial. He's also been tasked with a whole bunch of other stuff, being an inspector now. As far as how much can we search in a day, a lot of that depends on where we're searching. So an example is we have a missing kid up in the Sea to Sky, which is up in Squamish area. And if you've ever been to BC and Squamish, there's a big gondola that takes you up the mountain, and you can go hike around in the Alpine and everything like that. He's gone missing underneath this gondola. So the terrain in there is very vertical. It's very difficult for a dog and a human to go and search there a considerable distance. Contrast that to a missing cattle rancher outside of Merritt. Merritt has rolling hills, but a lot of the searching was on very flat and very open ground, where in a course of, I think it was 4 days, I put on 54 kilometers, I think it was, of searching. Where up in the Sea to Sky, I was only able to do 5 kilometers in an entire day. So it just depends on terrain, is a lot of it.
Thank you, Jen. And Steve Curry with Colchester Code 1.
Thanks. I think most of the questions have been asked. Jen, that was a question I was interested in as well, too, in terms of duration and how long it might take to actually do the search. I guess another question I have is, how effective are the dogs in a really strongly competing organic decomp areas, such as the sewage area? Is that something they can detect in?
Absolutely. We do through the training and or exposures that they do after the fact. There is some studies and whatnot. Human decomposition is unique to itself. They are, again, out of Trois Rivières. They've done a study there a couple of years ago that was published, and they were trying to compare certain animals to decomposition. So they are advancing the knowledge, the science base behind it, but the dogs, again, they're trained specifically for human remains. And as a handler or as a trainer, it's our responsibility to take outside sources of odor that they may be experiencing in an operational call, and what we call proof the dogs off that. So we would proof them off other human scents, other animals, other decomposition materials, food sources, anything that we can think of through our training. We present that in an environment where the dogs would smell and indicate, and part of their annual validations, we actually place other animal decomposition out, and the dogs have to ignore it, show no final response or indication that would, in a sense, fool the handler or have the handler believing otherwise.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think I can give you two examples, I think, of what you're asking about. Is one, I was just in attendance at a Canadian police dog detection seminar here in the spring, where one of the Edmonton human remains handlers was here, and he told us a story of how he was doing a search, and the search eventually led to a septic field, where his dog was like, hey, there's something here, and I can't really find what was here. When they did a pump out of the actual septic tank, they found some of the bones and the hair that was still in the tank from all that biological process. But what has happened is that person was put into the septic tank. All the enzymes and biological processes happened in the septic tank. And when all this was flushed out into the septic field, there's a term called VOCs, volatile organic compound. Those are what we believe our dogs are picking up on and detecting. Those were flushed out into the field. And that's what his dog was telling us, like, there's some VOCs here. Last summer, I was involved in the Saskatoon City Police search of their landfill for one of their homicide victims. And Staff Sergeant Pike was talking about a lot of the science hasn't caught up with what we're actually doing, and we would love to be able to do more. And it's always a question, like, how effective are the dogs in a landfill? Well, we don't know, but we can certainly try. So we were doing kind of our off the side of the table science while we were searching. We had 2 dogs there as well working. So we were doing our own training and our own figuring out how valid is it using a dog in this kind of environment. And it is possible for sure, as long as the VOCs are present for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That concludes our question and answer period. Thank you, folks, very much for your questions. Guy, if you'd like to wrap things up.
Thank you, Ian. Andrew Sampson, I see you have your hand up. Did you have a chance to ask 2 questions earlier?
Yeah, I did.
You can ignore that. Okay, thank you very much. I want to thank everyone for attending today.
Darn it. I obviously missed it, Kent. Totally said it. I listened to it exactly. But it said, we're bringing our 2 dogs from Vancouver. And that's why they were
I think the little bit of confusion was when they were saying that the one handler, which is the provincial guy, is in Alberta, and the other guy, the guy that's coming, is the provincial BC guy, not the provincial leader from Alberta.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I can understand why, we made that mistake, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Now I know Charmaine has her, so Charmaine is going to be playing this all in one again. Please go support Charmaine's channel, sub to her. Again, thanks to Charmaine, we were able to watch this in its entirety. You guys go watch it again, listen to it again, whichever. Bottom line is, big thank you to Charmaine that we were able to watch this entirely so that you guys got to exactly see what the press got to listen to and their questions. So it's out of their mouths. And so, Ken, before we wrap up here, because again, it's getting late for you, is there anything else that you wanted to say before? Like, is there anything that you wanted to discuss before we do head off?
Well, like I say, I would like to say on behalf of Jack and Lily, a huge thank you to Charmaine for what she was able to get done quick to get in on this. We only found out that if you had a press pass, like we found out that morning. So to be able to get stuff done, to be able to get the press pass and be able to get the link. The other thing that I'd like to say, it should show everybody this was 45 to 50 minutes of information. And I think the longest written article, might take you 5 or 10 minutes to read. The longest news report, now there'll be multiple TV reports on it, but the longest one was probably 3.5 minutes.
5, yeah.
So I think the amount of information that you received tonight and the ability to hear it coming directly from the dog team officers, I believe, for myself anyways, was very, very beneficial.
I think so, absolutely as well. We knew darn full well that they're not going to give you guys anything with Jack and Lily's case unless they want to put it out there. That's the bottom line. Again, whatever, you know what, I'm just glad that everybody's getting this information and that Charmaine was able to, again, reinstate her press pass from the one that she had before, and with the production company, and we were able to watch it. Again, big kudos to Charmaine, because you guys, as much as we could have kept this to ourselves, why would we? Right? We want you guys to have the information. So, and for anyone that actually plays like Charmaine's or this and stuff like that, give kudos to Charmaine. Tell them to go subscribe to her channel. If she wants to start building her channel again, then of course we'll support her. Absolutely. And so hopefully the other channels that use this as well do. Hence why.
And that's the other thing, folks. Bring it to the attention of other channels that if they're using it and somehow I don't think they'll be able to get rid of both, and I'm not accusing them that they would, but if they do cut it up and they're not showing or allowing you to hear the audio of where it's coming from, let people know in the chat rooms where it's come from. If anybody watched Michelle's video this morning, she done a video on this as far as the news reported, either on TV or in the news articles. She said that she would love to have the full presser. I left a little note in her comment. Check out Sonny's and Charmaine's videos tonight and come over and join us. And without saying the same as I did in the chat, if you want to hear the information coming from the horse's mouth, join us.
Yeah. So again, mad kudos to Charmaine. Okay, simple as that. She deserves the accolades, and so the reason actually I put it in there, like you kept hearing like this is a true crime story podcast, is because people will just rip it off, take the audio of it and stuff like that. Now Charmaine's going to put hers out there and it's going to have her watermark, but it's not going to have the audio, right? That's why Plunder started doing it. Because again, when somebody works hard for something and you deserve, the hard work that you do, you deserve the accolades for that, right? Because you worked, like Charmaine worked her ass off that morning, rushing around, and all that, and then of course, once we saw the other news stations and that covering it and showing the clippings as well, you know, and I had asked, are we allowed to show the entirety? I was told absolutely yes. The information was for you guys, but again, this is the difference between the news, which I'm grateful for, but as well as the true crime community about what we can do. And Jack and Lily, for Jack and Lily's case, of course we want to know what's going on. We want to know every tidbit of what's going on. So, so in saying that, yeah, just again, very much grateful to Charmaine for being able to provide this to us and us to be able to show it to you guys. And that, so go support Charmaine's channel. Okay, go sub up to her. She's gone over 100 and something subs so far. You know, and she'll get more. She'll get more. She's a great person, great heart, works hard. You know, works full time, just like I do and stuff like that. We just try to cover the case as much as possible. But just know, you guys, that I'm personally on my night shifts. I'm personally on the 12 to 8. So my next live will not be till Friday. So other than that, Kent, is that about it?
No, I'd just like to wish everybody a good night. Hopefully we gave you some good information and answer to questions, and you got to take it and judge it as you will, but I don't think there's any better source than what we were able to get to tonight.
Yeah. And also, I think it's still, to me, very telling of where they are. Again, you know, whatever your guys' perception is of where this case is going or what's happened and stuff like that, totally up to you. Just going to put out the information that we say and then have our own different opinions and whatever. So with that being said, you guys go over to Charmaine's channel. If you guys want to go watch it again, maybe there's stuff that you missed and stuff like that. You guys have a good night, and bless Belinda, Chelsea, and all you guys that are being voices for Jack and Lily out there. Big hugs. Simple as that. All right. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, mods. Thank you guys for all you do. Everyone.
Sleep well, everybody.
Yeah. Take care. Have a good one. And with that being said, I'll just play that little video. I know I got to finish it, guys, and I will. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
In the woods where shadows lay, Jack and Lily went to play.
Thanks, Lady Ellen.
On a rainy May afternoon, now we whisper hope soft too. Echoes of laughter fill the air, but where are they? We stand in prayer. Oh, Jack and Lily, where have you gone? We'll hold on tight through this endless dawn. In our hearts forever you'll stay. With every prayer we say,